As beginning herbalists, we need more help than just a textbook and some information that we can get online, and of course our instructor. There are books named field guides. Now, we have to be smart and we have to know a little bit about which kind of field guide we'll be using for this course or for learning how to identify different plants and herbs that we see outside. Very important is to choose a guide that has a black and white drawings. Remember when I was telling you that when I went outside for the first time on nature walks, I was trying to identify plants and it was really difficult? Well, that's because I have never had a class in herbalism, and I thought that buying a guide would be useful. However, color guides made it difficult to identify a plant or flower. That's why we use black and white drawings. Once you identify the plant or flower, then it will be helpful for you to color it. We will learn later on that the different colors of plants and flowers not only determines part of their family, but also tells us which kind of illnesses or diseases can this plant cure. If you decided to take a plant or leaf or flower, double, triple check before doing that, please. What you don't know can kill you. It's better not to try to do that until you really learn and know what you have in front of you, what kind of plant or what kind of herb. A good guide for beginners is called the Peterson Series Guide. Becoming familiar is really important. As you can see here, we have two different kinds of field guides. The Peterson, which is a field guide to medicinal plants and herbs, and the Newcomb Guide, which is a wildflower guide by Lawrence Newcomb. Both of them are extremely good. When you're becoming familiar with recognizing plants and herbs, what you're looking for is, you're looking to see how flowers are grouped by color, by petal shape, and by family. Newcomb's Field Guide series is the most simple version for amateur botanists. It is much less complex than a botany book and quicker to access than most flower group field guide series, such as the Peterson Guide. Now we're going to learn how to gather medicinal plants. Have you ever wondered how many flower petals does it take to fill or make a new perfume fragrance? Do you know that flowers such as violets don't have a smell? However, many manufacturers of high-end perfumes still create perfumes with violet essences. How is this possible? With the new interest in herbs, plants are being destroyed. Golden seal and ginseng hardly exist in the wild, and echinacea, sweetgrass, and ginger are also almost extinct. Even common herbs are in trouble. In northern Michigan, milkweed was eradicated to make life jackets during World War II. Yes, to give you an example. It is our responsibility to protect future growth of plants. There are a few practices that you can follow to ensure continuity and growth of plants for future generations. Know the plant's reproductive habits before you gather. Does the plant reproduce from underground rhizomes or from seeds? Are you going to use the plant that you gather before you gather it? This is also important spiritually. We'll talk about the spirit of nature and flowers and plants later on. Please, only gather what you need. Don't gather endangered plants. Find a substitute. Don't gather from wet ground. The footprints that you leave compress the soil, making future growth very difficult. Some people might not care about how many times to gather or gather irresponsibly, and don't leave any food to the animals in the area. Don't gather by spray areas, railroad tracks, near factories, alongside roads, organic farms, or polluted waters. This is really important because if you're going to be using some of these plants to for your salads or to eat or to create some kind of tincture with oil or a tincture with some kind of liquor or alcohol, you're going to be using it to for you to get better and to try to remedy an ailment or a disease. So you don't want to get sick or make others sick. Some guidelines for gathering is you always want to gather plants when they are at the highest peak or fully ripe. Of course, there are different parts of the plant, like leaves, flowers, and seeds. Leaves are tender and they show new growth such as flower buds or after seeding. Flowers are always best before full bloom, mid to late morning, after the dew has dried. Seeds are ripe and dry but before they fall to the ground. Those are normally the guidelines for gathering, the best time for gathering this. Why, do you ask? Well, that's when the plant has the most energy. This is important because as an herb or a plant that we're going to use to be able to cure an ailment or a disease or to treat some kind of condition or simply just to put in our salads, we want to make sure that we're getting the best ingredient possible. Remember when we were talking about nature and how to gather properly? Well, this culture, the Native Americans used to leave a spiritual token. So every time you gather, especially if you gather an amount or quantity that's kind of high, you might want to leave a spiritual token to place yourself in a respectful attitude with the plants and the earth. Some cultures give a token or offering before gathering. This could be a pinch of pollen, tobacco, water, a poet, or a song. The token acts as a help for us to focus on what is important and to recognize that we are gathering something that took time to grow. Now, some rules to keep your herbs potent. You want to make sure that you keep them away from the sunlight, the air, heat, metals such as aluminum, tin, and copper. All of these, of course, corrupt the air's vitality and potency. So make sure that you store your herbs in a cool, dark, and ventilated area.